new study from Cambridge University has revealed an incredible artifact, the oldest narrative scene in human history.
That's a pretty, no joke, that's a pretty big deal.
It is a very big deal, yes.
So you know that in a cave in France, like 30,000 years ago, that's your first cave art that we knew about, right? And you go, oh, humans are actually putting down, on the wall something that they a scene that they lived through, and it's symbolic. And so it's a big breakthrough in human history. This is 11,000 years ago, and they're sculpting it. They're actually building a structure with these signs on it and these people on it. So, and it's the first one. Were there ones before that? Probably, but it's the oldest one that we have discovered.
It is awe-inspiring, absolutely awe-inspiring. So again, this is 11,000 years old. It is a carving in a cave in Turkey, and it features a guy holding his penis in his hand. So here it is.
So apparently this has been as old as time.
I like that we blurred him holding the penis, or maybe wherever we got this image from had already done so. But you can see him holding something, and it is in fact his Johnson. Now,
but it's in Turkey, so it would have been his Ahmet.
Oh, you guys call penises Ahmets?
No, it's a common name in Turkey. That's. We don't call them all Ahmets. Okay. But nice to Ahmet you.
All right. So he's holding it, but he's also depicted with a leopard on either side of him.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, so you can see that carving of the leopards on both sides. And
that's so funny that this is the oldest human carving. And because now I'm not positive what it means. And of course, they're not positive either, because there's not a lot of books lying around from back then.
This is my favorite part, where we get to interpret it. Like, what's our interpretation? What do you interpret?
Well, there's a couple possibilities. One is, man, these leopards are hot.
No, that is not my interpretation.
I'm going to work. You see the one on the left? Okay.
My interpretation.
Hey, come here. You'll catch a load of these leopards. Okay.
So he is trying to protect the most vulnerable part of his body.
That's a good interpretation.
Okay.
Maybe better than mine.
And he's fierce about it based on the expression on his face.
Yeah. So that leads me to my third interpretation, which was get some. Where he was like, oh yeah, leopards, get a load of this, okay? And so, I mean, he is Turkish. So it's kind of a Turkish move. By the way, I'm kidding, he's not actually Turkish. It's an ancient people. People have moved around since then.
Yes.
All right, well, I've got more on this, but keep going.
Yes. So researchers found a second carving right next to that one. So they're finding all sorts of things. This one depicts a human figure with a bull. And to be more specific, the carving was found in a part of southeastern Turkey that Cenk is about to pronounce.
Oh, I am, wait, hold on.
It's Sayburç.
No.
Sayburç, because it's C's are pronounced as J's for some reason.
Sayburç.
Okay, so that's where it's found. Researchers believe that the ancient people who made the carving were transitioning from a hunter-gatherer lifestyle to a society of settlements.
Yeah.
Super interesting. Now we're gonna pivot, okay? So we've known for a while now that ancient societies were just as obsessed with sex back then as we are today. And the reason why we know that is because of the artifacts we found from the ancient days. Here are a few examples. There's the Greek god Priapus, a fertility god and protector of livestock.
I love that we had them blurred, but I mean, you can see why.
I mean, good for him.
Okay.
Really, good for him. So this is what Alex Jones's audience thinks they're going to get if they take those penis pills, but
that he's slanging.
Now, the Egyptian god Bes, a god worshipped as the protector of households. There's a lot going on here with that situation.
Dude's got a third leg.
And the Egyptian god Min, the god of fertility and male sexual potency. It's a cute little guy with a lot to offer. So these fertility statues were also common in many ancient cultures, and I'll give you one more example here. I just found out about this Neolithic fertility goddess statue, and now I'm gonna be thinking about it for the rest of my life. That person should get some friends probably and do other things. But it is pretty cool to see these artifacts from the past and just learn about humans, what mattered to them. It just seems like they were way more, I don't know, uninhibited back then.
Of course, they barely had clothes. I mean, let's keep it real.
And they had very little time to survive and live, right?
Yeah, and they had less inhibitions because they had less rules. They had less programming. We now program our kids with a number of different things, mainly religion, but also other cultural cues. And one of the things that we teach our kids is shame, okay, and guilt, and all these different things. It doesn't actually exist in nature. We make it up, and then we put that onto our kids.
I think shame and guilt, like we feel shame. Okay, so you're right about shame and guilt being forced upon us through cultural norms and things like that. But shame and guilt, like those are human emotions, and we have them for a reason. There's a survival reason for it, right?
Yeah, there's 100%. That's so true. But you could put that shame and guilt to anything. And we have decided as a society to put it towards sex.
That's true, yeah.
And so you're directing that human emotion in a certain way because, look, and you have shame about other things. Like if you steal, shame, right? So, but now in America, it's not shame if you're rich enough, right? And so there's a lot of different ways that it could be redirected. Anyways, look, back then, there's two serious things that I get out of this story. One is back then, of course, people were more open about sex because they were transitioning from a hunter-gatherer society. Hunter-gatherer society had different religions, okay, none of the religions that you know. It was more naturalist religions about how there would be fairies and pixies and jinns and all these different things in nature. They'd be in the woods, they'd be in the form of animals, etc. And so there was not this ideology where they focused all of your guilt and shame and embarrassment around sex at all. They needed you to have plenty of sex.
To have plenty of babies.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. So like the idea of showing your penis or having a fertility goddess with very large breasts or bottom or penis, etc., wasn't controversial back then. It wasn't offensive. All of that stuff is social constructs we made up later to depress ourselves so we can all go to therapists. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right, and so we don't need it. We didn't have it. We have it now. So that's the lesson to get out of that. Those particular statues that existed in almost all the cultures before we invented religion to shame us all. Okay. So the second thing is, there's not related to this particular story about the dude with the penis in his hand, okay, but about that cultural site and others that they are now finding in Turkey. And by the way, the reason they find all the cultural sites in Turkey is because that was Mesopotamia, and that's where the original civilizations and towns first came up. But we all had the idea that the town came first, and then we started doing agriculture and settled down, and before we were all hunter-gatherers. And then after we settled down, we started building things and creating religion to create rules for the town, right? But it turns out a new theory in archaeology, which seems like it's a pretty excellent one, is that no, according to the sites they found, they would build the religious structures first, and there was no town, there was no homes, there was no other structures. And then since they kept coming back to the religious structures, they then built a town around it. So religion started before the towns and then doomed us all. Okay, so look, for all the things that I tell you about religion and its downsides and how it's, well, they can't all be true, right? And so at least 90% of us or 80% or 70% of us are wrong, right? Let alone back then, none of them believed any of the things that we believe. But there is a human need for it. There is like an evolutionary purpose behind it. People have been seeking purpose for as long as their humanity's been around. So that's also interesting.
Totally. I love that you took that story and you made it so deep.
Oh, well, thank you, I appreciate it.
That was very good.
Okay, and those guys also made it deep, but in a different way. Here all week. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, I really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.